All right, I think we might have people watching now. I'm kind of out of scope here because this is a random, totally random impulsive decision to live stream. Like I have an hour, maybe a little less. Why not just live stream? So I see some people filling in the chat room. Can you guys hear me okay? Thanks, Aram. I hope I'm saying your name right. And I know there's a bit of a delay between when I talk and you guys hear it. That's the way it is, I guess. I'm new to the live streaming thing. And I'm basically waiting for a number of people to join in. So I'm not talking in an echo chamber or anything like that. And when we have enough people, then I think we can get started. Cool. Yep. So I see there is definitely a delay in between when I speak and when you guys hear me. Not sure why yet. So how many people do we have right now? Okay, we're up to 44. Awesome. So before we get started, the idea is to do a live stream distribution review. Random idea. I had this idea roughly 15 to 20 minutes ago. So very impulsive, but I figured it would be fun. So again, I'm just waiting for more people to fill into the room. So just to kind of give you guys a breakdown before we get started. This laptop right here, my X1 Extreme, is the guinea pig. This is the one that's going to get wiped, and we're going to install Bodhi Linux 6 on this. And this is going to be kind of an interactive review. So I'm going to give my thoughts, obviously, but I'm sure some of you in the chat room, there's going to be some things you want to see. So you can let me know what you want me to click on or what you want me to do, and I'll do it. To be fair, it might fail the install and this entire thing will be a train wreck. I have no idea. So this is the guinea pig laptop. This one right here is the Lemur Pro. I see you guys in the chat room on this computer here. And then my desktop right here is what I'm controlling the live stream on. So I'm going to be kind of like context switching all over the place here while we do this. And you'll see probably some of the warts when I do distribution reviews as well. Some of the things I normally edit out, especially considering my allergies are bad. I hope that's not an issue. So let's see what we have here. All right. David asks, why Bodhi Linux? I don't know. There's no reason whatsoever. This is probably the most impulsive review I've ever done. It hit my news feed that Bodhi Linux 6 is out. So I figured I'll record a review tomorrow. I have some time. Wait a minute. Why don't I live stream it? And then here we are. So that's literally my decision-making process there. Okay, resource usage, we could definitely check that. I agree, I love ThinkPad. So we are up to 58. So I'm going to give this a few more minutes just to see if anyone wants to filter in. Because it's impulsive, no one even really knows this is going to happen. And yeah, when we have, let's say, 60-something pushing 70 people will get started. I think we'll hit that in a few minutes. So I'm seeing a lot of hellos from all over the world, and that is amazing to me that there's people all over the world watching. That's just great. I have someone from the Netherlands. That's awesome. Poland, Germany, a few from Germany, actually. All right. You want to know, is it capable of being a daily driver? I think that's something that I do want to talk about real quick about my daily driver thing, because there's an aspect of this that I don't often talk about. And that is I have talked about my custom Ansible scripts. So I've basically scripted my distribution installs. That doesn't include Bodhi Linux though. So for something to become my daily driver, that's a lot of work because I have to test my Ansible scripts on that distribution and write custom rules and things like that. Not saying it's impossible, but it has to be a distribution that is so amazing that makes me want to do that extra work. And maybe this one will be that. I don't know. But it's just kind of like a distribution. For that to become my daily driver, there's just a very high bar to set, which is really hard. So we'll see. We have someone from Chicago. Finally, that's one place I've actually been to of all the places that have been mentioned in the chat room so far. And someone is asking me which one I recommend more, Fedora or Pop! OS. That's a hard question to answer because it depends on your experience level. It depends on your hardware. Is it hardware that works really well with Linux in general? Do you have proprietary drivers on there? I should say proprietary hardware that might require or benefit from a proprietary driver. That's really hard to say. I like both Fedora and Pop! OS. Now, Fedora is ahead of Pop! OS right now because they have a new release out. Pop! OS doesn't. They are not due until June. It's been delayed. So if I had to compare today, Fedora, honestly, because they have a release. They have something you can use. And Pop! OS does too, but it's a little bit old. They would have normally had a release by now, but it's delayed. So I'll know more next week. We'll see, or I should say next month. And of course, someone's calling my cell phone right as I'm trying to do a live stream. I'll ignore it. Okay, we are up. Wow, 87. We hit the mark. Okay, enough stalling. So I have this flash drive right here. I've already written the ISO image to it, and I just cheaped out and used DD. So I often use things like USB Imager in my videos because it's just easier to explain. The way I actually do it is I use DD. And yes, I have DD'd an ISO to my root file system several times. That's why I normally don't recommend everyone do that, but we're going to go ahead and put this in here. And I'm going to switch the camera over to my HDMI capture. So what you should be seeing right now is no signal. So this is what I see right before I hit the record button when I'm doing a distribution review. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to press the power button. So my laptop is off, the ThinkPad is off. I'm going to turn it on. If all goes well, you will see the BIOS screen and everything. So let's see what happens. There's a hideous beep sound that I edit out of my reviews too that you may hear. So it says it's powered on. There it is. I didn't catch it fast enough, so I have to reboot it again. There's a delay in my recording software. So, I think I hit it on time. There we go. So I'm going to go into the boot menu. And I'll get caught up with the chats here. Have a hello from Southeast Michigan. I just moved away from Southeast Michigan less than a year ago. I'm more closer to the west end of Michigan now. Just outside of Ann Arbor, actually. Have someone asking if I've used Arco Linux? No, I have not as of yet. So what you're seeing is my boot menu, and I need to clean this up. I just keep forgetting to delete all these other entries here in the boot manager. So spoilers, if you are looking at this, then you know what distributions I'm about to review on the channel because I've recorded a bunch of footage. So you probably can tell already that you are probably expecting an MX Linux review, Manjaro, Fedora I've already done. So you guys got a scoop. Congratulations. So I'm going to hit the USB hard drive option here, which is what it calls a flash drive. I'm going to boot and we're going to see if it works. Let's see what happens right now. All right. Now, one problem with this is I cannot see what's on the screen barely when it's on that grub menu because the text is so small. And now I'm actually seeing it on my laptop screen. You guys are not seeing it. So again, these are some of the problems that I run into when I do a distribution review that you guys don't normally see. Okay, now you will see it. This is interesting. Brandon says the audio sounds great. I was hoping so. I bought a brand new microphone. I had to do a lot of studying on audio. I think I'm done. I have some fine tuning to do. So the microphone you're hearing me from right now isn't going to really be in all the videos until probably next month because I'm often 2 to 3 weeks ahead in recordings often. So I have a lot of footage already recorded with my old microphone that I still need to get uploaded. So it's taking a little bit to start up here. Thanks, Simon. Yeah, I love the fact that you can see the BIOS in the footage. Just makes it even that much more authentic. So right now, you are seeing virtually nothing but the wallpaper. So the way this works when I do my reviews is the screen recorder is considered a separate monitor, even though it's not. And in order for you guys to see it or me to have it in the footage, I have to mirror the screen. So the first thing I have to do before I can even review this is find out how to do that. So it's asking me for the language. That's what I see on my end that you do not see in yours. It's really, really hard to see. So if you're wondering why it's taking me so long to get this going, the font size looks like a 6, or maybe an 8. I should have worn my glasses. Okay, so I think it's... Okay, something's happening now. Welcome, Daffy. Wow, what an honor. Daffy Duck is subscribing to my channel. I have been watching Looney Tunes since I was like 7 or 6, maybe even 5. Wow. Okay, so I am going to mirror the screen, or at least attempt to do so. So bear with me a moment. Okay, unless I'm blind, I am not seeing a multi-monitor configuration screen. So, yeah, AR and R, I'll probably use that. But I want to see like what Bodhi Linux is providing for the screen management here. So if anyone knows, I'm going to try to find it. I'll race you guys. I'm sure somebody has probably done this before. So if I want to mirror the screen, I'm in settings. There's a section called screen. There's no section within that that has to do with monitors. So what I am going to do instead, to speed this along a bit, I'm going to connect to Wi-Fi, and I'm going to just install something that'll have me do it. So all right, testing Wi-Fi again. You guys can't see this yet. I understand. You will, if all goes according to plan, you will be able to see it shortly. Bring up the terminal and let's see. All right, so I'm just basically installing LXR and R. It's just one of my go-tos. Probably should have just used the command line, but this is a habit for some reason. I've been using LXR and R for a lot of my reviews. It's installed now, so I should be able to maybe get this working. I think this might do it. So aha. So now you guys are able to finally see what I see. And I have to repeat this entire exercise after I install it because, of course, that wipes it out. And I didn't hit the button fast enough. Let's try that again. And I will say OK. Okay, so now you guys should actually see, finally, Bodhi Linux in the live stream. I mirrored the screen, and it's really hard to see, but you can see what I was talking about. So this right here, the display settings, when I do a recording, this secondary monitor here is actually what gets recorded and what ends up in the footage. I mirror the screen, so that way what's on my screen is going to be the same as what's being recorded. So that's kind of how a somewhat of a behind the scenes look at what I do to actually allow you guys to see the screen in the reviews. I mirror the laptop directly to the screen recorder. So now that we have that out of the way, what I'm going to do now is get this installed. So I will double click on the install button here. So Peter, Bodhi is based on Ubuntu. So what I'm going to do, I wonder if the keyboard shortcut's the same. Nope, doesn't seem to be. Let's do... So here's the font for the terminal. Can barely see the screen at all. Bear with me one moment here. Let's see. If you're wondering why I'm having trouble, the screen brightness controls are not working. It's very dim. So anyway, the font size is just small, but what I'm going to do is open up another terminal. There we go. So to answer the question there, we can see what it's based on here because it's Ubuntu 20.04.2. And this release is supposed to have the hardware enablement turned on, so it's supposed to have newer drivers and such. So there's the kernel info. I believe it says 5.8. Anyway, what I'm going to do is just get this installed here. Let's go ahead and close some of this out. So I'm just going through the defaults. This looks like the same Ubuntu installer for the most part. Download updates, why not? Install third-party stuff, why not? Yeah, someone mentioned proper partitioning. Unless you guys disagree, I kind of feel like it might be best for that to be in its own video. And that would enable me to have a card or a link to that in every video to let people know, unless it's supposed to be, unless you guys think it should be more of a distro specific thing. Someone mentioned to go 1080p. You know what? I'm going to try it. It doesn't always work. And sometimes in the footage that makes everything look a bit blurry. But you know what? I'm going to try it. Worst case scenario, you guys won't be able to see it. Last time I tried to do this, it actually failed. So you guys could be my good luck charm, and we'll see if it works. Yeah, I think that did work okay. Yeah, and Simon, that's a problem. Everything was small, and that's kind of one of the problems of switching the channel to 4K, which I have done a while back. I have a 4K screen on my laptop. That has brought some challenges such as this. I would not have run into a problem if it was a 1080p screen, but then on 4K televisions, if people are watching my content, I find 1080p looks blurry. Anyway, erase disk and install Bodhi. What are the advanced features here? So this is where you guys come in. I want to know what I should do here. What do you guys want me to do? So I want to maybe choose LVM or ZFS. And if we choose LVM, we can encrypt it. So I'm going to let the chat get caught up here, and I'm going to see what you guys want me to do for the install. So basically, should I go LVM? Should I go ZFS? So again, I'm just letting the chat catch up a bit, and we will make our decision on the live stream how we are going to set up this installation. And I think it's about at least 1 minute behind, just giving you guys an idea. I'm only just now seeing the comments where you guys are confirming you can see the screen at 1080p, just to give you an idea how far behind we are in the lag here. Yeah, ButterFS isn't an option. So I have one for LVM, two for ZFS, another for LVM. So LVM is winning, actually. ZFS, wow, I didn't expect it to be so split. There's a lot of people that want to see LVM. Encryption is a priority, Alberto. Yeah, I agree. Why not ZFS? I don't know. You guys tell me. I'm letting you guys be in control of this. So, as an aside, someone wanted to know which distribution I used for the first time. I believe it was Red Hat 7.2, which was before Fedora. So not Red Hat Enterprise Linux, just Red Hat. They started the numbering over later. Enable slow mode on comments. Let's see. I don't know where to do that yet. CFS, so far it looks like LVM is getting more responses. So unless there's a big turnaround, let's see the ZFS people represent ZFS. And who knows, maybe whatever one I choose will fail and I have to go the other direction anyway. So I'm going to go with LVM and I'm going to encrypt it. I think that was just partially over. So we'll go with that. And let's install. All right, security key. Type in my super secret security key. Not going to choose this option here. That's going to totally make it take forever. All right, disk is wiping. Yep, Simon, looks like ZFS, or excuse me, LVM wins. It was so close, though. I was expecting with all the hype around ZFS that ZFS would totally win. And now there's a lot of people that are representing ZFS. So now it kind of, if I didn't open my mouth about the ZFS people representing, it probably would have been able to go either way. So that's hilarious. Wow, Red Hat 4.2, someone mentions in the live stream. That was before even my time. So you have seniority over me, actually. That's pretty cool. I like that. Oh, I should pay attention to the screen and click the continue button there. There we go. This is live. So that someone asked if this is a live stream. This is a live stream, not a premiere. I am here with you right now. All right, so I usually just keep it simple for the name. I'll resist the urge to name it after a Final Fantasy VI Esper. And let's continue. Okay, so we're copying files. And someone mentions that ZFS is more of a server, huge storage thing. That is true, but there are benefits on the desktop as well. Maybe not as many. I could see some value there, especially how it handles ECC memory. I'm not an expert on ZFS yet, so there's going to be some things that are outside my scope. I bought a couple of books, and I'm going to be diving into ZFS pretty hardcore. I know the basics, though. Someone mentioned Knoppix as being their first. That was such a great distro. I love that one. All right, and bear with me a moment. I'm going to be right back. Okay. I am back now, so. Someone asked how many years I've been using Linux. So I think 19 pushing 20-ish, somewhere around there. Simon, I do not have ECC RAM on this machine in particular. The only non-server machine I have that has ECC RAM is my desktop. My desktop actually has ECC memory on it. It's a Thelio. It's the one that you see in the background of pretty much all of my videos lately. So other than that, my servers have ECC. So you are actually seeing how long it takes to get this distro installed on my hardware in real time. Seems like it takes a little bit longer than others, in my opinion, but it's not that bad. And Simon, when you say ZFS, the project, it doesn't seem to be terribly active. Are you talking about OpenZFS or just ZFS as it is in BSD? And I see some love for ButterFS, and I agree it needs a little bit more fine-tuning, but I also kind of feel like it's a victim of just backlash that I don't know was truly warranted at the time that it happened. I think it's more of a marketing thing where they were calling it stable before it really was. And reputation is really hard in the Linux community to get away from. So even if ButterFS has already fixed all their problems, well, I mean, if you got the reputation, you have the reputation. So I have someone asking, what is special about Bodhi Linux? Well, it uses the Moksha desktop environment, if I'm even pronouncing that correctly. And it has ties into Buddhism, which is pretty cool, although you do not have to be a Buddhist to use it. I am somewhat of a Buddhist myself. I say somewhat because I have severe ADD and, meditation and mindfulness. That's really hard when you have ADD. But it has, ties and such to that. But it's a very different desktop environment and way of doing things, which you'll see when we get into the meat of the review. Once this is done installing, then we're going to start looking at it. And that's when this is going to get even more interesting. Right now it's boring. You're just seeing a progress bar. Normally I would have edited this out or just sped it up. So you're seeing this in real time. Yeah, I agree. ZFS has so much more time being developed that it's going to be some time until the overall opinion of ButterFS is that we can trust it. I haven't had any problems with ButterFS myself, but I haven't actually used it for too long either. I think what I should do is just use it on one of my computers for a while, just see what happens. And Darth Dweeb mentions that ButterFS is the standard for Fedora. It is, yes, and OpenSUSE as well. So it's got two of the distributions. Now, I kind of wonder, though, do they patch it for their distribution? I would hope if they do, they put those patches upstream to help ButterFS become more stable. I wonder if ButterFS, if it's stable on those platforms, which so far for me it has been, does that mean that it's stable because it's stable or stable because the upstream distribution maintainers add a little special sauce to it? The reason I ask that question, sometimes Ubuntu, for example, they add things to kernels and patches and things. So a Linux kernel on Ubuntu is not quite the same as it is on others because they, backport patches from newer kernels all the time, creating kind of like a Franken kernel, as I call it. And when it comes to ButterFS, I don't know. That'd be something I should explore. Alexandru is asking what I think of Ubuntu 2104. I haven't tried that one yet. All right, so we're going to restart this one. And I'll switch the camera back to me because you guys will not be able to see it. Okay, so I am back on the screen. and have to fiddle with the computer again. It's going to reboot, and let's see, I think I actually have to go back to my other, that's why. Press enter. Confirm the restart there. All right, now we can go back. So I have to have the HDMI out, so I have on, I unplugged it. So now you certainly can't see it. And that's okay because it's going to start up. I have this weird problem where this laptop will have like a flickering screen sometimes if I boot it with the HDMI plugged in. That's so weird. And it kind of makes my eyes hurt. So I'm going to give it a moment to start on its own, and then I'll plug it back in. That's interesting if Open Media Vault will be pushing ButterFS pretty hard. I have an installation of it. So here's an interesting question. So my Open Media Vault server is on a Raspberry Pi. It's still the one that I did in the video. So what do you guys think? Like ButterFS on Raspberry Pi, what challenges do you think might be the case there if they go to that? Will there be any challenges, extra challenges, I should say, beyond what would normally be the case? That would be interesting to see. Now, on my end, I don't have anything on the screen, so I'm going to just hold the power button down and turn it on manually, I guess. There it goes. I agree. SUSE does a great job in their partitioning for sure. What are my thoughts on MX Linux? I won't give you a spoiler. Okay, I will. I love it. But I recorded a review actually already, and it should be up, I hope, soon. The problem is the intro and outro didn't turn out on that review. I need to re-record those two parts. Once I do that, I can get it uploaded. So there's a bit of a delay, but the footage is done otherwise. So MX Linux, expect that. That's going to be, there's going to be an updated review. So it's booting up. The grub default timeout was like 30 seconds. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, Dark Flash. I agree. It's definitely a good topic about ButterFS on Raspberry Pi. I will be testing that. So more of a hypothetical question. I don't have an opinion yet, but I hope to generate an opinion. So encryption screen, I'm putting in the password. The encryption screen, although you guys can't see it, it looks pretty professional. Why is there no ARM-based ATX motherboard? David, you know what? That is brilliant. Why? Why is that not a thing? Come on, it has to be a thing. How cool would that be? There is the Turing Pi, which is something to kind of look into. Maybe not quite the same thing there, but it's something. Is Bodhi Debian based? Nope, it is based on Ubuntu 20.04.2 currently. And what's my view on running the NAS on the Raspberry Pi? Go for it. You will have some I/O slowdowns, but it works. It's fine. But what are you doing? Are you running a YouTube channel off of your storage and storing 4K videos like I do? Okay, maybe you might run into some issues with I/O. Maybe things just take longer. Go for it. Now, what's interesting is I don't see anything on the screen at all. So I'm going to plug in the HDMI, see if it's trying to use external. And so far, nothing. So technical difficulties. All right, so I'm going to leave this plugged in. Starting up the computer. Let's see if you guys are able to see it in about a minute or a few seconds. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties, but these are the things that I usually edit out. So you guys are kind of seeing a side of the channel you normally don't. So there's the grub screen I was telling you guys about, and the timeout was something like 30 seconds. The font size on my 4K display, I can't even see that at all. I couldn't even tell you what that says. I'm just going to press enter though. Hope I'm on the right one. And I'm being asked the ultimate Linux question in the chat room right now, which is, what do I think about systemd? I like it. I like it a lot. People love to hate things, honestly. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's definitely a lot of valid complaints, but honestly, in my opinion, which isn't going to be a popular one, you know, I understand the mindset should be do one thing and do it well instead of have like one huge thing that does everything. But in my opinion, a million lines of code across 10 apps or a million lines of code in one app is still a million lines of code. If you spread it out, it's harder to audit. If it's all in one, it's easier to audit. I'm not saying systemd has been audited, but anyway, I'll put in my password here. I don't have any problem with systemd, and I don't want to throw shade on the people that don't like it. I just don't personally see a reason to hate it, but I'm also not saying that the reasons people dislike it are invalid, because people bring up some good opinions on that on either side. So personally, I'm okay with that. So this is interesting. I hope this isn't the end of the review. If I can't get anything on the screen, that would be kind of embarrassing, right? That wouldn't be a very good review for Bodhi Linux if I can't even get a display. But it was working in live mode, so we'll see. And if nothing else, I could review it in live mode. That's what we could do that too if we have to. So Dark Flash, what about systemd is it that drove you to use BSD more? I'm kind of curious. Bit hesitant to ask, but curious. I definitely have to ask. So I'm giving this a few more minutes to boot up. You guys are not able to see it. Let me switch the camera so at least you guys see something. $212 viewers. That's awesome. Still nothing on the screen. And one thing about systemd, guys, is that if you don't like it, there's still distributions that don't have it. MX Linux, unless the new one does, I have to go back to the review footage to find out. Last I checked, they didn't use systemd, so there's options for sure. All right, so what I'm going to do is, since this is interesting, there's nothing on the screen, not the screen recorder or the laptop. So we're going to go back to live mode right now. And unfortunately, we'll have to do the review from live mode because, well, I can't review what I can't see. Yeah, and I can understand the comment about scripts and things like that being, easier. Anyway, let's do, okay, you guys can't see it yet, but I'm going to plug in the HDMI soon and we'll get this on the road. Booting from the flash drive. If I had to guess, I'm going to probably blame NVIDIA for this one. Usually when we have display issues, it's their fault. If nothing else, blaming NVIDIA is a safe default most of the time. You know, it is, Thomas asked if it's a hybrid machine. It is. Yeah, it is. There's different BIOS settings. I could have probably tried a different BIOS setting now that I think about it. Basically, the BIOS setting is hybrid or NVIDIA only. Those are like the only two options. So it's weird because NVIDIA is still the thing. It doesn't let you switch away from that on the BIOS of this. Being asked where I am from. I am from Michigan. We have 4 seasons: cold, colder, coldest, and hot. I'm not even kidding you. Those are definitely the 4 seasons in Michigan. Is it using Wayland? I doubt it, but that's a good thing to ask. All right, let's try this again. So you guys can't see this yet. I'm going to speed through this option. It's asking me for language. That's all that's happening right now, so you're not missing too much yet. So I'm going to go through the same exercise I did before. I'm going to connect to Wi-Fi. Which is happening now. and then I'll get the screen situation sorted. Interesting. Still nothing on the other screen. So let's try this again. All right, one more time. Apparently I can't type my password. All right, get caught up in the chat. Yes, I've heard the winter and road construction 2 seasons in Michigan as well. Not wrong, but usually when I like to try to, I don't know, it seems like that's used a lot, maybe too much. Mine's funnier. Where is it? I don't know. Let's see. So I'll have it on the screen in just a moment. Wandering Moon, just found the top 10 distro video. I hope you like that one. Wondering about Bodhi and its ease of use. Let's explore that actually. Yeah, Thomas, having a BIOS setting for that is cool. Lenovo has been, at least for the most part of my experience, pretty good at that. That being said, I could just be lucky and have the only few laptops that they give you that option on. However, several ThinkPads that I've tried give you that ability. So I don't think I'm the only one. All right, almost there, almost there. I'm going to set it to 1080p so you guys don't have to squint to see it. If I can, have to squint to even find the option. So refresh rate and apply. What happens? And survey says nothing. Ah, that would be the reason. Try this again. And a little delay. There it is. Aha, got it. So now you guys are able to see it. Now, a couple observations. Something that you can't see is the screen brightness. On your end, it's going to look fine. On my end, it's a bit dim. When I press the screen brightness button, it doesn't detect it. And literally every distribution that I have tried allows me to change the screen brightness. So let's explore a little bit here. I'm going to go into settings. And let's have a look around. So let's see here. So we have different themes, which is pretty cool. I like the green one by default. Interesting. All right. So now this is where you guys come in. Since I have it up and running, and yes, it's in live mode, so it's not going to be all that great. It's not going to be as fast as it could be. What should I actually check out in this release? What do you want to see? The apps that are installed here? File manager? What do you guys want to see? You know, Michael, I don't know if it's cabling issues. Yeah, I'm going to look into that, actually. Clock is off. Yeah, that's always the case. And usually I have to fix that when I do distro reviews. All right, so while I'm waiting for the comments to filter in, I'm just going to click around randomly, and then when I see some ideas in the chat, then I'm going to do that. So already a few people want to check out the app. So here we have the applications menu here. So we have LeafPad for the text editor. LeafPad is actually something for those that don't know, you find this a lot on XFCE distributions. I think it's fine. I like Genie the best. So for people that haven't seen it, I'm going to, of course, use a command line because it's muscle memory. Just go ahead and install it. Show you guys what I'm talking about. And let's try that. Sometimes it takes a minute. It's 1 moment. All right, be right back with you guys. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm going to omgubuntu.com, or actually .co.uk. And on there is an article, and I'll go to it here as well so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And interestingly enough, we have Chromium as the default browser, which I should probably talk about. So we'll launch that. I'll show you the release notes. And this is the Moksha desktop. So I'll show you guys that in a moment. So we're going to go to OMG Ubuntu. And you guys are probably wondering, why are you going there? Why don't you just look at the release announcement? What release announcement? I haven't been able to find one yet. A lot of websites are reporting that this is out, but I haven't seen an official release announcement. So I'm looking through here for the new features, and they talk about Chromium and the themes. Now this is interesting. Control-Alt-Space. That's what I want to check out. That's an application launcher. So I just installed Genie, and I can launch it right from this. I don't even have to go to the menu. That's Control-Alt-Space. I like this a lot. Drop-down terminal. I don't think so. I pressed F12 and nothing. So here we have the Genie text editor, which is one of my favorites. And then this on the right-hand side is LeafPad, which is the one it comes with. So I like Genie because if you're writing code and you're not already using a terminal text editor, you can actually run your code by just going to build. You could execute or make if you're doing some coding. That's why I like that one better. But Mousepad, or I keep calling it Mousepad, that's the old name. LeafPad is the text editor. All right. Oh, there's monitor settings. Oh, for crying out loud. I totally missed that when I was trying to find that earlier. So there is something to manage your monitors with. Yeah, Chrome, well, it's Chromium, but I have kind of mixed opinions about that. I'm seeing some comments about it in the chat. You can install Firefox, which I'm sure a lot of people will do, or maybe something else. So we have that. And Genie, because I installed it. ePhoto for viewing photos. That's one thing you'll find about this desktop environment is that everything looks very unique. They don't really seem to go along like UI guidelines. They just do their own thing, which from a Buddhist mindset makes sense. For those that don't know, like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of Buddhist references here, but you don't have to be a Buddhist to use it. It's just, kind of like a mentality. And part of that mentality is, find out for yourself, right? Don't just go by what other people say. Find your own way. Just research things, come up with your own opinion. So in Buddhism, people will ask, what did the Buddha say about this or that? And they'll tell you, but then also tell you, find out for yourself. So when it comes to UI guidelines, I don't know if that's why, but they went their own way on a lot of things, which is fine. So far, it's okay. So we have ePhoto. I don't have any photos here, but that's one app we have there. I've already mentioned Chromium, and this is not the Snap version, by the way. Will Genie display syntax errors? You know what? That's a good question. Let's try it. Out of memory, I have a splitting headache today, but let's see if I can remember. get working code first. Whoops, if I can even type today. We'll save this as a Python file. So I'll save it as a .py file. And let's try to run it. Oh, Python not found. Wouldn't that be helpful? So which Python 3? User bin Python 3. Okay, let's just fix that. Okay, live coding session. That's something I haven't done before. User bin Python. Oh, did I even save it? Nope, probably not. I guess I did. Interesting. So yeah, it's definitely displaying errors, but oops, let's try this. And it works in the command line. So interesting, it's probably a setting where you have to tell it where to find it even when it comes to executing things. So if we go to the preferences here, I'm going to spend too much time on this here because normally this works. It's kind of weird that it's not. So what do we have here? Not going to spend too much time on that. It's probably a very stupid thing that I overlooked, most likely. But anyway, that was Genie. Yeah, and Snap is not enabled by default. So user bin Chromium, as you can see. It's not in a Snap path. And if you do which Snap, it's not there. So there's that. Okay, so we went over the applications. Now, someone asked about ease of use. Now, that's kind of complicated for me to answer right now because when I do reviews, I generally have multiple days to spend on the distro. And if I have a problem, and I've run into several problems here, I try to find out, is the problem me? Is it my hardware? Or is it the distribution? There was an issue after I installed it. This is live mode. It wouldn't actually show anything on the screen at all. Would a BIOS update fix that? Probably. Or not BIOS update, I mean a BIOS change. Probably. There's always a way to get it working. I just can't really give you guys an accurate opinion on ease of use live because that takes some time. I think on compatible hardware, it's probably going to work okay. And ease of use, if you take away the fact that I had an issue, we have a Wi-Fi, button right here. So we have that. We have something for notifications here. Your battery. So we have options for battery, but it's kind of cut off there. So there's going to be some inconsistencies here. As you can see, I can't even tell what these options are because they're kind of just running off the screen. Someone wanted to know which kernel. Let's answer that now. So if I can get there, there's a little delay in the mouse. Okay, let's try that. I believe it's 5.8. The font size was really small when I checked earlier. So there's the kernel. And if I do etc os release, you can see what it's based on. So I'm going to leave that up. In fact, I'm going to kind of center that there. So for those of you that, have any questions about that, the kernel or what it's based on, I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to take a look at that. Ryan mentions that the developers chose Chromium because of some issue with prepackaging Firefox from Ubuntu. And yeah, that could be a legitimate issue there, couldn't it? Seems like there's a lot of controversy around Chromium because of Google taking away the sync options, I believe it was. And Google is actually, there's some controversy with them about the whole flock thing for tracking. So I can agree with choosing Chromium. And yes, Chromium is the open source version and shouldn't really be impacted by Google's decisions. But let's be honest, it kind of is impacted by it in some ways. So interesting solution or decision there. Yep. So we have that on the screen. And, you guys are totally curious. So there's the CPU info, which is a lot. Try to center that so you can see what processor I'm running, if you're curious about that. So I'll open up another one. So just about, 32 gigs of RAM. Do I have HTOP? That'd be even better. Someone asked about resource usage. Let's check that now. So hopefully you guys can see it. So we have some information here. Maybe make this a little bit bigger if I can. So resizing things is a little challenging for some reason. I don't know why. Getting the mouse cursor in just the right position. So there's the resource usage. And if I close out of Chromium and this app too. All right. So what I can glean from this, and I know this is not going to be a popular opinion. A lot of people will say you should choose a lightweight Linux distribution because, you want more system resources free for your apps. I agree with that. I mean, if your machine is taking half your RAM just to run the OS, that's not very good. Now here, I find GNOME distros on this rig take about 800 to 900 megabytes. Sometimes it just crosses into the 1 gigabyte threshold. On average, I would say somewhere between 700 and 900 megabytes. I do understand on older machines and people that don't have access to decent hardware, that 200 megabytes can mean the world to them. Totally understand that. That being said, it's still not much of a difference. So I would say this is within 100-ish megabytes of Mate or GNOME. GNOME, add another 50 megabytes or something. So I'm not going to say this is the most lightweight that I've ever used, but it is lightweight-ish. If you have a 1 gig machine, this 760 megabytes is going to be a problem for you because you barely have enough to run a web browser at that point. So whether or not this resource usage is lightweight really depends on your opinion and your hardware and what you want to run. I think if you ask several people what's lightweight, they'll probably give you several different answers. But for the individual who asked about the resource usage, this is that. So scroll on a title bar of a window. Oh, aha, I totally forgot about that. That is a feature of desktop environments and window managers from previous generations. It's not new. I've done this in OpenBox and many other different things. I miss this. I mean, it's so cool. Like, you can minimize things to get things out of the way, but you could also just have a very small footprint by doing this. And I'm just using the scroll wheel. I just point to the window border here. I just scrolled the mouse wheel down and then up, down, up. I wish this was a thing on everything, honestly. Like, I totally forgot that this was a thing because I haven't used like OpenBox and other environments that use this or have this feature in a while. So it kind of just didn't register that I should do that. So thank you. We have multiple workspaces here too. I'm clicking on the right-hand side. All right. Now, someone in the chat asked me what I do for editing the application menu. The thing is, I don't. I kind of stopped. I used to do that a lot. I can't remember what I used. Now I just use application launchers. There's one built in, Control-Alt-Space. So if I wanted to launch an app, I could just start typing the name of the app here. So if I wanted to type, terminology is the name of the terminal emulator. So I just start typing that and it shows up in the list. My opinion is I just don't like application launchers anymore because I feel like it's just so much easier. And there's other, even if your distro doesn't have anything like this, you can add something to it. Synapse was one, which I don't know if that's abandoned. uLauncher is the other one. So if I bring up a browser, I'll show you guys what that is. This is for those of you that are using a distribution that does not have an application launcher, probably a more appropriate term for that, that doesn't have one built in. So gonna wait for Chromium to open, and it's taking a long time. What's up with that? Weird. Okay, anyway. Let's look up uLauncher, make sure it's still a thing and didn't get abandoned, as some of these do. So this is an app right here, guys. I'll make the font a little bit bigger. So this is for those of you that are not running on a distribution that has an application launcher built in. When I say application launcher, I don't really mean this, because we all have that, right? All distributions, at least most, have something like this. uLauncher is kind of like how we have the Control-Alt-Space built into this desktop environment here in Bodhi Linux, right? So we have that. But if your distribution does not have anything like that, you can install this. And if you scroll down, this little animated picture here, that kind of gives you an idea what it looks like. So I never use application launchers for my personal use. I just use something like this. I pop up the application launcher. I have a video about uLauncher on my channel, actually. And I just start typing the name of something, and I launch it. And this has plugins too. Wonder if they actually have them linked here. Thought this one did. Maybe I'm thinking of another one. There's a few of these. So I'll leave it up to you guys to check that out. I do recommend you check it out. It's pretty cool. So Ryan mentions, oh, you know what, Ryan? You have a really good point. I might have to retract what I said earlier. Because so Ryan, you said that you were able to run this on 200 megabytes. You know what? I have to apologize to you guys because this is another one of those days where I have a recurring headache problem. I don't always think clearly. And that's my problem today. I would have realized I'm running in live mode. Live mode takes more memory because it's keeping your changes and alterations, whatever's going on in I/O is saturating your memory. So I have to walk back everything I said about the performance and RAM usage and whatnot, because it's not an accurate representation of what Bodhi Linux is actually going to be like if you installed it. So Ryan, I'm going to take you at your word. If you say a fresh boot, Bodhi Linux uses 200 megabytes for you, then I'm going to just assume that's the case. I would have tested it myself, but I was not able to get anything on the screen at all. I'll play around with this off camera to see if I can fix it. Let me ask you this, guys. What do you think? So this is a live stream review. Do you guys think, after I have some more time with this, that I should consider doing a just a standard review that's edited and written, and where I kind of go through these different things and give it a proper review? Or do you think this is good enough? Because I may not have any, I mean, if I try it, I still can't get anything on the screen, then I don't want to do a review for the sake of doing a review if I have nothing different to say. But if you guys want to, I could consider doing that. What do you think? Yeah, Wandering Moon mentions about my headache issue, to drink more water. It's not quite that simple for me, unfortunately. I wish it was. It's actually a muscle contraction thing. Long story. And I drink a ton of water. And I'm just letting the chat catch up here. Can I get this on GNOME? If you're referring to uLauncher, yes. uLauncher does not care what desktop environment you are running. You could be running KDE Plasma, GNOME, Mate, XFCE. You could even stick it on this, Bodhi Linux, if you like it better. They won't stop you. Yeah, I'm going to consider the review. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If there's a lot of things that I find out that are of value, already we have the memory usage. We don't know what that is yet. We don't know what the resource usage actually is if it was installed. That'd be more accurate. That's one talking point. If I get the screen fixed, I mean, right now, if I leave the review like this, it's kind of a negative review, isn't it? Because I wasn't able to get it installed and get something on my screen. That would be a bad place to leave it. But that alone isn't enough to warrant a full review, proper edited review, by the way. Another question to ask you guys is the audio quality. I'm playing around with it again, but I swear to God, I'm going to stop. I'm almost there. Is it too low, too high, too bassy, not enough bass, too much treble? Let me know what you think. Hi, Benjamin. Happy to see you here. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to just play around with it. If I think I have enough different to say, then I'll do a proper review. The whole point of this was to make this the only review of Bodhi Linux, not to double dip on the video rankings or anything. I probably could have chosen a better distro, something, you know, I don't know, just something easier, just for the first time. So I'm going to do this again for sure. I don't think I have much more to go. If you guys have anything last minute you want to say or have me look at, I will do that. But I will do another distribution review. Every now and then, I think it's kind of cool. Let you guys drive the review. What do you guys want to see? What do you want me to click on? What do you want to know? So I'm going to give this a few minutes and I have to run. So I'm going to just see if there's anything last minute here that you guys want to know once the chat catches up. And then I will try it. If not, we'll close it down. Yeah, I agree. A review would be shorter and more concise because I can edit out the long load times. Like when it's installing, it took like 10 minutes. So that's already 10 minutes of this live stream. Yeah, it's Moksha, Benjamin, just to give you an idea. So if we go to, let's see, I can even type it. Just to give you a general idea, that's the desktop environment. But I'm going to see, there should be, I'm trying to Google this, but for some reason it's slowing down. I've been having some internet issues, something in my firewall, so I don't think it has anything to do with this distro. There it goes. Now it's working. So there's some information. It's pronounced Moksha, and they give some information about the origin of it, different themes and whatnot. I like it. So I guess while I'm waiting for the chat to open up here, some final-ish thoughts, which may not be my final thoughts if I decide to do a full review of this, a separate review of this. I like it a lot. There's some rough edges. So it's kind of like, I probably wouldn't use this as my daily driver as it stands now. When I give it some more time, if I work through the rough edges, then maybe it could be a contender. There's some issues like the brightness for the screen. I have a brightness up and down button on my laptop. Those buttons don't work. The hotkey for screen switching doesn't work. I rebooted into the installation. I need to do some research on why I wasn't able to get anything on the screen, because in live mode it works fine. It's one of those rare cases where it works in live mode, doesn't work after installation, probably NVIDIA. That remains to be seen. I love the theme. It's beautiful. The desktop environment's fun. It's pleasant. And I really, really like the Buddhism mentions and Easter eggs and things about this. It's really cool. Mindfulness is important. So if you could have mindfulness with your distribution, that'd be pretty cool. So far, I guess I'd have to say it's good, but proceed with caution. If I feel like there's anything else or my opinion changes, I'll do an actual review. I'll reference this video, use it as B-roll. So, all right, what else do we have? Some last minute comments I will try to get through here before I switch it back to me. Let's see. I own a new System 76 laptop, Dillinger writes. This is all new to me. Well, you're in good company because there's a lot of cool people using System 76, and they're definitely not a sponsor, I swear. They have never sponsored a single video. Just something I really enjoy. Really love their hardware. All right, so what I'm going to do now, switch back to my camera. So now you can see me. So, yeah, so I apologize for the technical difficulties here. It was an interesting experience. I probably should have chose something more well-supported for the first time doing a live distro review. I think I'll do this again. I don't know when. Maybe next time will be impulsive like this one was. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm going to do this again. I can't wait. Drop some comments if there's another distro you want me to review, keeping in mind MX Linux, Kubuntu, Ubuntu Cinnamon are all done already, just pending editing and some reshoots of various parts. The Ubuntu Cinnamon review is tomorrow morning. It's already done. It's shipping now. It's uploading today. To be out tomorrow. And there's a fourth distro I added too. I can't remember. So there's distro reviews coming. But let me know if there's anything. And keep in mind, if it's one of those distros that have a new version and they didn't really change all that much, it's harder to do a video on that. But if there's something you think they did a lot, they changed a lot of cool things going on there, let me know. So I'll consider doing that review. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys.